it's Linda here, and welcome to the Homely Lass Studio. And in this session, we are going to learn how to crochet left-handed. Now, this is going to be fun. So if you're watching, if you're left-handed, tell me if you've tried crocheting before. Say hi too, and tell us whereabouts you are. I love hearing from you. Love hearing where you are. But tell me, are you left-handed? And have you tried crocheting before? And like, how did it go? Was it not so good, or you've never tried because you couldn't find any way to learn? Or yeah, tell me where you're at. Just getting a few things set up here so we're right to go, so I can see your comments. That always helps. So we are good. Okay, fabulous. So say hi in the comments. Tell me where you are, and yeah, are you left-handed? Have you tried crocheting before? What's the story? So what are we going to make? We are going to make the warm heart blanket. So we're going to cover all the kind of basic stitches of crocheting left-handed, and we're going to make a scarf, so the warm heart scarf. So I am going to share my hand camera with you so you can see what's on my table and see my hands. Hey Shirley, glad you're joining us. Lefty through and through, haven't tried since I was little. Well, this is going to be interesting. We'll see how you go. Okay, so what we're going to use, I've got a 300 gram skein of Homely Bliss. It's a chunky Australian merino wool. I've got 2 stitch markers, and I've got a 25mm or U-size crochet hook. So first things first is we've got to get the yarn from a skein, there it is in all its skeinness, into a ball. And normally I would do this before the session. What I'm doing, I'm just opening out the skein, so just pulling it apart. Normally I would do this, and I'm just going to lie it down in a big circle. So normally I would do this before the session, but I thought, because this is, oh, hold on, what's happening with my camera? It's still there, that's good, yes. I thought because this was a learn to crochet session, we'd do the wind it into a ball in the session, just so you know how to open out the skein. So with your skein of Homely Bliss, you'll see there's one small tie, 2 small ties in fact, and then there's another place it's tied with the bigger yarn, and that's actually the ends of the yarn. So we're going to open it out last. So with these smaller ones, just grab a set of scissors and just snip them like that and pull that out. And do the same with the other one. And pull that out. Hey Fiona, glad you're joining us. You're a proud lefty. Good on you. Okay, so this is the bigger tie, and these are the ends of the yarn. So just snip that at the knot. Being careful not to cut the rest of the yarn. And so we've got another knot here, so just undo that. So what you may notice here is that one end is kind of on the bottom, maybe not, and one end might be on the top. Just find the one that you think is on the top, and just very carefully unravel some of that, kind of get it all together, just a bit like that. And then we're going to start doing a ball, and I'm going to do this left-handed. Please tell me if I switch to right-handed accidentally. So just wind that around your hand a couple of times just to get something to get started with. And then what I do is slip that off your hand, do that around the middle a couple of times. And then I fold that in half, and then I use that as the start of my ball. There's all different ways to do this, to roll it into a ball. So do it however works best for you. And then it's just rolling rolling, turning, wrapping and turning, I suppose is the best way to explain it. Feels funny doing it with left hand actually, considering, because I am right-handed. It doesn't feel as foreign as I thought it would. And so I like to pull a bit out of the skein so it's kind of all together, and then wrap, because I find if I just wrap and pull from the skein, sometimes I get it tangled, so I kind of get a bit together. Oop. Ball winding 101. So wrap. And this doesn't have to be beautiful. Definitely doesn't have to be beautiful, because we're going to be crocheting from it soon, so it doesn't really matter what it looks like. So just getting a bit more yarn out. And I am actually going to slip over to right-handed just to get through this a bit quicker. Winding. Oops, so this is what I mean. I sometimes can get a bit caught up. Wind this and then I'll deal with that. Because you don't want a knot to deal with, which is what it looks like I'm going to end up with. Maybe not. I might be able to save it. That goes over there. That looks better. So if you've never used Homely Bliss before, it's a chunky Australian merino wool, and it's all grown and processed in Australia. And my personal opinion is that using chunky yarn and a chunky hook is the easiest way to learn, because it's easier to see what's going on and it's easier to maneuver and control as well. So it doesn't feel as fiddly, yeah, not as painful or frustrating. The principles are all the same, so it's still crocheting, still exactly the same stitches, it's just everything is bigger. Almost there. Almost got it into a ball. The ball is getting bigger. Now you will find some organic matter in the Homely Bliss, and so what it is like little bits of grass that get into the sheep's wool, and so that's just a sign that it's not over processed, the yarn isn't over processed. And it's a beautiful link back to, like, as the maker, the person making up the fiber, I think it's a beautiful link back to the animal that grew the wool, grew the fiber. And almost like a full circle connection. So just pull them out when you see them. Almost there, look at that. And actually, I'm going to cheat a little bit, and this last bit I'll just put on my lap with the ball because I'm going to crochet it straight away. So this is what we've got. We've got a ball of yarn, which is the starting point. So there we go. Okay, so crochet hook in the left hand, ready to go. But first, we're going to do a slip stitch. And I'm just going to do it right-handed so I can show you how to do it left-handed. So, sorry, not a slip stitch, a slip knot. I did that last night when we did the beanie tutorial. So, we've got a piece of yarn. There's an end that's attached to nothing, the end, and there's an end that's attached to the ball. So, lie the yarn on your hand like that. This is the end that's attached to nothing, the cut end. Leave a nice length here because we need that to weave in at the end. Okay, so get the end that's attached to the ball and wrap it around your hand like that. Then turn your hand over, and then with this end that's attached to the ball, make a loop. Now with this loop, make sure it's pointing towards your fingers, because otherwise it's not going to work. I'm hoping it works because this is back to front for me. So hold on to the loop then, pull your hand out, and then it's going to work. Pull this cut end tight like that. And the way to check that you've got the right end done up is the end that's attached to the ball needs to make this, when you pull it, make this loop go bigger and smaller. So step one, that's how to do a left-handed slip knot. So don't pick the crochet hook up with your left hand. We want this loop to be bigger than our crochet hook. It needs to slide very easily up and down, and I reckon I could even do it a bit, so about like that. So there's a nice space underneath there. Okay, so first to start off, we're just about to start crocheting, and at this stage just hold the yarn and hook however it feels like you should. There's no right and wrong way to hold crochet hook and yarn, and you'll see there are so many different methods, and it's actually really fascinating just watching people crochet, just to see how they hold it and how they move, and knitting as well. So there's no right or wrong way. You'll probably find that as you crochet, you might even change. And I know when I do normal size crochet to chunky crochet, how I hold the hook and the yarn is actually different. So whatever feels right for you. So first we're going to do 5 chain stitches, and that is how every foundation chain starts, and it's nice and simple. All you do is put the yarn behind the hook and put it over the hook like that. So this bit's actually going to go into the hook, and then with the loop, slide it over the end, and then that pulls down. So that loop that was on the hook is now a stitch, and each crochet stitch has these 2 legs like a V. So I call that the front, and then the back it has this knobbly bit. So that's 1 stitch, and I know it's a stitch because I can count the V. So we're going to do that again. So yarn around the back of the hook, and then into the hook, and then slide that one off. Slide the loop off, and now we've got 2 V's. Look at that. Do that again, yarn behind the hook and into there, and then slide that off like that. And you might at this stage be getting the hang of the movement, so maybe you want to try moving your crochet hook. So yarn around the back there and over the front of the hook. So when we crochet, the yarn always goes from the back to the front. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hook the yarn into the hook and then pull it like that. You don't have to do it that way. You can go back to doing it the way we had it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and do that once more. So yarn behind the hook, and then pull that loop over the top. So that's what we've got. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. This is good. And that's a foundation chain. So that's the very start. We've started crocheting. Okay, so next we're going to do row 1. Now to do row 1, we're going to do a treble stitch. So to do a treble stitch, first, before we do a treble stitch, we need to do, so the top of the row 1 is going to sit up here. So we need to get from this point here up to the top of that row. So at this point, we're going to do another 2 chain stitches, which is going to get us up to the top of that row. And that's called the turning chain. And in this pattern, that doesn't count as a stitch. And generally a pattern, it will tell you whether it's counted as a stitch or not. Okay, so we do another 2 chain. So yarn over the hook and then pull that loop that's on the hook out over that to there. Oh, and actually do that once more. So we've got 2 of them. Just going to go back to doing that way. So we've got 2 chain. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that was our end chain. And then we've got 2 chain up the side to get to the top of row 1. So the reason why I'm holding on to this one here, which is the 5th chain, so the end of the foundation chain, is because that's where we're going to put the hook into. So see that? Here's our front of our chain stitch, which has the V with the legs like that. And then at back, it's the knobbly bit. The hook is going to go right in there. So let's do our first treble stitch. So holding on to that. Actually, I'm going to get one of my stitch markers and put that through there, just so I know where it is and what I've got to do with it. Okay, so to do a treble stitch, we start off by doing a yarn over first. And that's actually what we did at the start of the chain stitch. So put the yarn behind the hook over the front. But don't do anything else with it just yet. Now we're going to put the hook through the 5th chain. So put the hook into there. Oops, I've got this wrong because my yarn is on the wrong side. Hold on. So just going back, yarn over like that, keep the yarn at the back. So always back to front, and then put the hook into the 5th chain. So it looks like that. We'll do this once and then I'll pull it out and I'll show you again. Okay, so at this stage, we've got 3 loops on the hook like that. So now yarn over again, and we're going to pull this. So yarn over, so the yarn is behind again, over the front of the hook. We're going to pull this under the first 2 stitches. And I'm just going to do this like this with my hand. So I'm half pulling the hook and I'm using this hand just to help guide that over. And then we're going to do, oh, now we've got 2 loops left. We're going to do the same thing again. So yarn over, yarn behind the hook, and pull it through those 2 stitches. And so what that is a treble stitch. So we've got our 2 chain, and this is our treble stitch. But I'm going to pull that out and show you how to do that once more. So back to where we were. So 5, count the 5th chain along. So I see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's my loopy bit. I've got 2 chain up the side. Okay. So yarn over, back to front. Put it through the knobbly bit at the back of that chain, the 5th chain. Yarn over again and pull it through 2 loops. Yarn over again and put it through 2 loops. I forgot to say at the start, if you've got questions as we're going along, please ask them and I'll answer them as we go. And so because that's the first stitch of the row, what I'm going to do is I'm pulling out the stitch marker. I'm going to put the stitch marker around the top of the stitch. And we know the top of the stitch is where that V is again. So put it around both legs like that. Okay, we've done 1 of 5 treble stitches. So let's keep going. So I'm looking for the next knobbly bit, and here it is here. So the V's are here. Let's turn that about that much. I can't think if it's 90 degrees. There's my next knobbly bit. So that's where I'm going to end up putting the hook. But before I do that, we need to yarn over to do the start of the treble stitch. So to do a treble stitch, yarn over, so always back to front, put the hook into that knobbly bit, yarn over again, so back to front. So I've got 3 loops on the hook, 3 loops, and then this one we've yarned over. Pull 2 loops, pull that under 2 loops, then yarn over and under the last 2 loops. So that's what it looks like. So we've done 2 treble stitches, so we're going to do that again. Shirley says, I keep putting it through the V. Do you mean the V here at the foundation chain, Shirley? Through the, oh, do you mean like going through the center of the V, like that? While you answer, I'm going to do the 3rd treble stitch. So yarn over, then here's the next knobbly bit at the back here. So the V is there, and there's the knobbly bit. So put the hook, so we've done 1 yarn over, the hook through there, yarn over again and pull that out of the knobbly bit. We've got 3, yes, okay, 3 loops on the hook. So yarn over and pull that through 2 of those loops. Now we've got 2 loops left on the hook. Yarn over and pull it through the last 2 loops. So back to Shirley putting, you think you've got it, yeah. So it doesn't really matter with the foundation chain. But the reason why I do the stitches through the knobbly bit at the back is you get these beautiful V's along the end of your scarf or your blanket, and it just makes it look better. Means this end looks the same as the other end. So it's a presentation thing. Okay, so we've done 3 and we're going to do another 2. So how are you going? Let's finish this row off. So yarn over first, then we're looking for the next knobbly bit. So there's the V at the front, knobbly bits at the back, put the hook through there, yarn over and pull that back out of the knobbly bit. So we've got 3 loops on the hook, then yarn over, pull that through 2 loops like that, 2 loops left on the hook, yarn over and pull that through 2 loops. That's how it's looking. So that's 4. I've got to do 1 more, and I can see that last little knobbly bit is just there. So there's the V, 2 legs of the V, and there's the knobbly bit. Okay, so one last time. Yarn over, put the hook through the last knobbly bit, there it is, through there. Yarn over again and pull that back out of the knobbly bit like that. Yarn over again and put it under 2 loops. There's 2 loops left on the hook now. Yarn over and pull it through those last 2 loops. So there you go. There you go. Just something to be aware of. When you're doing the stitches and making the loops, always bring your loops back up to the fattest part of the hook. It is a little bit further to go than if you're doing it with a normal size crochet hook, but that just means that your loops are going to be the right size, and maybe that will make more sense to you as we go along. So we've done row 1. So please let me know how you're going, if there's anything you're stuck on, and I'll answer that. So that's a treble stitch, and I'm going to put a stitch marker into the last stitch as well. And so same as what we did back here, I'm going to look for the 2 legs of the V. So that's right up here. There, I'm going to put that around both legs there. Okay, so 1 row done. It gets easier from here too. Okay, so now we're going to turn. So it doesn't matter which way you turn, just as long as you do turn. Otherwise you can't go anywhere. So turn, yarns at the back. Here's my crocheting. I've got my first stitch here and my last stitch here. And so we're going to do a different stitch for row 2. So row 2 is going to be a double crochet stitch, and it's not as high as a treble stitch. So it's about half the size. So we need to get up to the start of row 2. So if we imagine the start of row 2 is going to be up here, we need to do a turning chain to get up there, and that doesn't count as a stitch. So we've got 5 stitches here. We had 5 stitches in our foundation chain, and we'll do 5 double crochets. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to do 1 chain stitch. So can you remember how to do a chain stitch? So yarn across the hook, so yarn over, always going back to front, and then pull that through the loop on your hook, like that. You can see what we've done with that is we've gone up to the top of row 2. So it's going to run along there. Okay, so let's dive in and do row 2. So we don't do a yarn over before we do a double crochet stitch. So we're going to put the hook into here first. So I know that's the right place to put it because I marked that last stitch at the end of last row. So there's the V's. Put the hook under there. Now we do the yarn over like that. So back along the front of your hook, and then pull that back out of the stitch below. So before we were putting the hook through the knobbly bit, this time it's going through the top of the stitch below. I'm going to show you that again. So this is the top of our stitches of row 1. And then we put the hook in there. So for a double crochet stitch, hook goes into there. Yarn goes over the front, so yarn over, pull that back out. And now we've got 2 loops on the hook. Like that. And when I said make sure it comes back up to the thickest part of the hook, that's what I mean, put it there. Otherwise things get too tight. Okay, so that's the first part of the double crochet stitch, and we're going to yarn over again and then pull that under the 2 loops on the hook, and that is a double crochet stitch. So I'm going to pull this stitch marker out so we don't need it anymore. And I'm going to put it over the top of, around the legs at the top of that first double crochet stitch. So here's what's on the hook, and this is the top of the stitch here. Okay, so I've done 1 double crochet stitch. Now we've got to do another 4. So same process again. This is where the hook's going. Make sure you've got both legs there. So put the hook in there, yarn over, and pull that back out of the stitch below. We've got 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, and pull that under the 2 loops that were on the hook. And do that again. Find where the next stitch is going to go. Make sure you've got 2 legs there under that stitch, yarn over, and pull that out of the stitch below. Now we've got 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, and through those 2 loops like that. Okay, we've done 3. Where's our next stitch going? Okay, that's it there. Make sure you've got both legs of the V. Put the hook through there like that. Yarn over and pull that back out of the stitch below. Got 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull those through those 2 loops like that. Okay, and then we've got 1 more to go, and I know it's the last stitch because I put a stitch marker in it. So put your hook through that last stitch, yarn over, and pull it back out of that last stitch. We've now got 2 loops on the hook like that, yarn over, and pull that under both of those loops that are on the hook. And that's what it looks like. Now, we're going to pull this stitch marker out because we don't need it anymore. And we're going to put it around the top of that last stitch that we just did. So to find that, there's a loop that's around the hook. And then here's the 2 legs of the V of the stitch. So we don't put it around what's on the hook, we put it around this bit here. Okay. Oh, do you need to have a breather? Do you need to take a few deep breaths? Have a bit of a jiggle of your body. That can be quite hard to do. But you've done this if you like, you've got this far, that's great. And you can actually, with the live video, you can pause and go back if you want to. So do that. Okay, and guess what? From here on in, we are just repeating what we've just done. Susan says you can follow a right-hand video if you're a lefty. Face your phone, iPad, laptop, etc. towards a mirror and watch in the mirror. I have a mirror on stand and just turn my laptop to face it. That's such a great idea, Susan. So here we go. Let's do this. Are you ready? Are we going to do row 3? Elizabeth says you're a great teacher. Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. I'm glad you're finding it handy. It feels foreign for me because, like I said, I'm right-handed. So I'm kind of learning at the same time as I'm teaching. So that's good. It's always good to learn. Okay, so we're going to turn and start row 3. And so from now on, like I said, we're going to just keep doing the same thing over and over again. So the odd rows are going to be treble stitches. The even rows are going to be double crochet. So just going to do treble, double crochet, treble, double crochet, treble, double crochet. And the way to remember, so the treble is higher. It's like twice the size of a double. And the trebles start with the yarn over, the double crochets don't. But I'm going to step you through this as we go. And we're just going to keep crocheting until we get to the end of the yarn. So let's do row 3. Okay, so like I said, this is a treble row, and we need to get up to the top of the row. I'll pull this down so you can see where I'm pointing. So the treble has 2 turning chain. So let's do 2 chain. So yarn over and through the loop. 1, yarn over and through the loop 2. So you can see, here, I'll use the yarn. This is where the top of the row 3 is going to be, and here's the turning chain. Now, where's my hook going to go? It's going to go here because that's the marked stitch. Okay, so let's do a treble stitch. So yarn over, and then we're going to put that through the stitch of the row, first stitch of the row below. So put that through there. It feels foreign. So it looks like that. So hook through the stitch below, yarn over, and then pull that back out of the stitch below. And we've got 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over again and pull that through 2 loops. Now we've got 2 loops on the hook, and remember to keep pulling your loops back up to the thickest part of the hook. Yarn over and through the last 2 loops. Okay, so we don't need this stitch marker here anymore, so I'm going to pull that out, and I'm going to put that around the top of the stitch that we just did. So here's the loop around the hook, and it goes around here. So put it around the 2 legs of the V. Okay, we've done 1. We're going to do another 4 triple stitches. So yarn over and then put that through the stitch below. Make sure you've got both legs of the V. Put that through there. Yarn over and pull that out of the stitch below. Now we've got 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull that under 2 of the loops. And then yarn over and pull that under the next 2 loops. So we've got 2 stitches done. 1, 2. Mine are looking a bit wild and woolly, but that's okay because I'm learning. And the more you do crocheting, the more you do the stitches, the neater your stitches will get, the more even your tension will get. Yeah, and you build those connections between your hands and your brain. There's probably a word for that, but that's what happens. It doesn't feel as foreign anymore. Okay, so 3rd stitch is going to go through there. So yarn over, put the hook through the stitch below, like that. Yarn over and pull that back out of the stitch below, 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull that under 2 of those, like that. Yarn over and pull it under the last 2. That's our 3rd stitch. fourth stitch is going to be here. Yarn over and put that through the next stitch. Yarn over, pull that out of the next stitch. 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and go under the first 2 loops. 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over and go under the first 2 loops. So I've done 4 stitches. We've got the last one to do. We know where that's going because we put the stitch marker in. Okay, last one. Yarn over and go under the stitch in the row below. Yarn over and pull that back out of the stitch below. 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and go under 2 of the loops. Yarn over and go under the last 2 loops like that. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches, which is right. I'm going to pull this stitch marker out and put it in the top of that last stitch like that. Cool. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do this. Okay, so now we turn again. So turn, get the yarn out so it's not in the way. So that was a treble stitch. So that means our next row is a double crochet stitch. So this is row 4. So can you remember that when we did the double crochet stitch before, our turning chain to get to the top of the row was just 1 chain. So let's do 1 chain. Yarn over and through the loop like that. Okay. So do you remember that with the double crochet stitch, we didn't yarn over first. So yarn over first for a treble, but not for a double crochet. So we just need to find where the hook's going to go. And we know that because we put a stitch marker under it. And just make sure you've got both legs of it there. So hook through the stitch below like that. Yarn over and pull that back out of the stitch below. So we've got 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull that under those 2 loops. And that's our first stitch. And I'm going to pull this stitch marker out and put it around both legs at the top of that stitch. Okay, now we're going to do another 4 double crochet stitches. Okay, so find the next stitch. There it is. I've got both legs of the V there. Put the hook through there, yarn over and pull that out and under that stitch below. And I've got 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull that under both of the loops on the hook. There we go. That's the second one. Now the third one, find the next stitch and make sure you've got both legs. Put the hook through there, yarn over and pull that back out from under the stitch below, yarn over and through the next 2, the only 2 loops on the hook. Okay, so that's 3 stitches. Find where the next stitch is in the row below, put the hook through there, yarn over and pull that back out of the stitch below, yarn over and through the 2 loops on the hook. There we go. There's 4, so we've got 1 more to do. We know where that is because the stitch marker's there. Put the hook through the stitch below. Make sure you've got the 2 legs. Yarn over and pull that back out of the stitch below like that. Yarn over and pull. Yarn over and pull the yarn over under the 2 loops on the hook. I'm going to do that one again. We'll do that last stitch 1 more time. So find the last stitch of the row, make sure you've got both legs, put the hook through there, yarn over and pull that back out of the stitch below, yarn over and go under the 2 loops that are on the hook like that. Yay, we've done 4 rows now. So pull the stitch marker out and put that around the top of that last stitch and get the 2 legs like that. So is this making sense? How are you finding it? Is there anything in particular you would like me to explain, like with some extra detail? Let me know in the comments. While you're doing that, we are gonna turn. So that's how it's looking. It's growing. So this was the treble row here. This is the double crochet row, the littler one there. This was our treble row. And then this is the double crochet row. You can see there's the legs of the double crochet stitches there. And these ones are in here somewhere. Okay. Hi, Francesca. I'm so glad you've joined us. And you're welcome. You're welcome. Let's turn like this. Okay, and we're ready to start row 5. There we go, row 5. So row 5 is a treble row. And remember, first thing is we've got to do the turning chain. We've got to get up to the top of the row. So for a treble row, now I'm just pulling the bits of grass out of the like that. For the treble row, the turning chain is 2 chain. So let's do 2 chain. Yarn over and pull that under the loop on the hook. Yarn over and pull that under the loop on the hook again. We're at the top of row 2. Okay, so a treble starts with a yarn over. So do the yarn over first, always back to front. Find where you're going to put the hook, which we know where that is because it's got the stitch marker there. So get the 2 legs of the V and put the hook under there through the stitch below. Then yarn over and pull that out of the stitch below. Now we've got 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and under 2 loops, like that. 2 loops left, yarn over and under the last 2 loops. So that is our first stitch of the row. So put the stitch marker out and put it around the top of that first stitch, first treble. Okay, so find where the next stitch is going, where the next stitch is, where the hook's going next. Yarn over and through the next stitch, like that. Yarn over and pull it back out of that next stitch. So 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go under 2 of those, yarn over and go under 2 of those. And let's do that again. Find the next stitch, yarn over, put the hook through the next stitch, yarn over, and go bring that back out of the next stitch, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, get some more yarn out, yarn over and go under 2 like that, yarn over and go under 2 like that. There you go. Do that again. So find the next stitch, there it is. Yarn over and put the hook through the next stitch. Yarn over and pull that out of the next stitch. Yarn over and go through 2 loops like that. Yarn over and go through 2 loops. So that's our 4, that's 4. We've got 1 more to do and I need to get some more yarn out because I'm running out. That's good. That means we're making progress. Okay, so 1 stitch to go, find the next stitch, yarn over, put the hook through the next stitch like that, yarn over and pull that out of the next stitch, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go under 2 like that, yarn over and go under 2 like that. And now get this last stitch marker and put that up around the top of the stitch. So that was a treble row, which means our next row is a double crochet row. So turn like that. Okay, and remember at the start of a double crochet row, we do 1 chain. So let's do 1 chain. So yarn over and through the loop on the hook. Okay, so a double crochet doesn't have a yarn over. So we just find the next stitch, put the hook through there, and then yarn over and pull that back out of the next stitch. We've got 2 loops on the hook. yarn over, and through those 2 loops. And so that's our first stitch of the row. So we're going to move this stitch marker up and put it around the top of that first stitch. So there's our turning chain that we did on the side. It doesn't count as a stitch. And there's the top of our double crochet stitch. Okay, find the next stitch on the row below, put the hook through there, yarn over and pull it back out of the stitch below, yarn over and go through the 2 loops on the hook like that. Okay, find the next stitch, put the hook through there, yarn over and pull that back out of the stitch below, yarn over and through the 2 loops like that. Okay, so find the next stitch, put the hook through it. Always make sure you've got both legs of the V. Yarn over and pull that back out of the stitch below. Yarn over and go through the 2 loops on the hook. We've got one more to do. So find that next stitch, put the hook through there, yarn over and pull that back out. Yarn over and go through the 2 loops on the hook. There we go. And now move the stitch marker up and put it around the top of that last stitch. And then we turn. Ta-da! And it doesn't matter which way you turn. One thing to keep in mind when you are turning, if you always turn the same way, you get a more even edge. So yeah, but that's something to worry about once you get the hang of the stitches. And in time, you'll find that you have you kind of gravitate towards turning one way. It just kind of becomes second nature. And it doesn't matter which way you turn. There's no right or wrong way. It just if you are consistent with which way you're turning, your edges will look more even. Okay, so let's go. Let's do the next one. So that was a double crochet row. So our next row is a treble row. So our turning chain for that is 2 chains. So let's do 2 chains. So yarn over and through the loop on the hook, yarn over and through the loop on the hook. So treble row does start with a yarn over. So yarn over, put the hook through that first stitch, which is the marked one, yarn over and pull that back out like that. There's 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and through 2, yarn over and through 2. Okay, and then move this first stitch marker up to the top like this. Okay, so yarn over, find the next stitch and put the hook through it, yarn over and pull that back out of the next stitch, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go under 2, yarn over and go under 2. There we go. So find the next stitch, yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out of the next stitch, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over through 2 loops, yarn over through the next 2 loops. Okay, find the next stitch, yarn over and put the hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out of the next stitch, so 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and through 2 of those loops, yarn over and through the last 2 loops. Don't get your yarn caught around your mouse because it pulls it across the table. Oh, I've just, by moving my mouse, I've changed things on my screen. Hold on, let me get everything back. Here we go. Okay. Hopefully you're still with me. Okie dokie. So we're just going to keep crocheting this. So yarn over and put it through the next stitch, yarn over and pull it back out. 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and through the 2 loops, yarn over and through the last 2 loops. And I can see that we're getting close to our time. So if you do need to go, I'm going to show you how to finish off, and then we'll come back and keep crocheting. So, and this is for finishing off any crochet project. So we've got 1 loop and it goes up and down. And if you pull this bit that's attached to the ball, all of this is going to come undone. So to finish off, all you do is make this a bit bigger and pull. I would actually normally just cut this about here, but instead of that, it doesn't matter. Just pull the yarn, whatever bit of yarn you've got left, whether it's a ball or just a little bit, through that loop, and then pull that tight. And what happens is that secures that there. So it's like a nice little knot. And then what to do, I'm going to show you down using this front end, the starting end, because it's the same for both, is, okay, so we're just going to weave it under some loops just to secure it. I'm just going to do these because they're nice and easy to find, but it doesn't matter which loops you put it through, so just feed it through using your fingers. With normal size crochet, you'd use a darning needle, but we don't need to do that because our fingers will fit. So do like that. Doesn't matter which loops you go under. Like that. And then once you've got it under 4 or 5 or 10 or whatever feels right for you, if I was doing a blanket, I'd probably do it a bit more, but because it's only a scarf, I won't go as far. So once you've got it under some stitches, because this yarn is going to kind of open up and fray after a little bit of yarn use at the end, we're just going to tie a knot there. Like that. So just tie a knot. I realize I've done that right-handed. I'm sure you can do that one. Sorry about that. Do it left-handed. And so just add that knot. So then that's just the other side of that last loop. And then with this little end bit, just chop that off. And so the reason we do that is you can see that as the Homely Bliss yarn kind of gets thing, it kind of opens up, and tying the knot in the end holds it all together. So that's good. Okay. So now we're going to go back to crocheting. So I'm just going to pull this bit out here because we want to keep crocheting. So I'll pull the yarn. I'm just going to go the opposite of what I did. Rewind, rewind in real time. There we go. Okay, get my yarn out. So this color I'm using is called Cumin. We're going to finish this off. Okay, so hook through there and then turn. Okay, so that was a treble row. So our next row is a double crochet row. So we start a double crochet row with 1 turning chain. So yarn over and pull that through the loop. Oh, and you know what we didn't do at the end of the last row is we didn't move the stitch marker up. So do that. There we go. Okay. So double crochet row, so it doesn't start with a yarn over. So find that next stitch on the row below and put the hook through there. Then yarn over and pull it back out of the stitch below. Yarn over and pull it through 2 loops. And remember to move the stitch marker up. Now we're going to do another 4 double crochets. Find the next stitch, put the yarn through it and yarn over. Pull that back out of the stitch below, yarn over and through the 2 loops on the hook. Hook through the next stitch in the row below, yarn over and pull that back out of the stitch, yarn over and through the 2 loops. Hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops. We do that again. Hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through the 2 loops. And move the stitch marker up to the top of that last stitch. Cool, and then turn. Okay, so that was a double crochet row. So our next one is a treble row. So we do 2 chain for the turning chain. So yarn over and pull that through the loop, yarn over and pull that through the loop. Okay, so a treble does start with a yarn over. So yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops. Move that stitch marker up. Okay, and yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops. Okay, yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops. Hook through the next stitch, yarn over. Oh, no, that's wrong. We've got to yarn over first. Yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2, yarn over and through 2 loops. There we go. Did I? No, I didn't do that anywhere else in the row. Okay, so yarn over to start with. Through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops, like that. And move the stitch marker up to that stitch we just did. And turn. Okay, so that was a treble one. Now we're going to do a double crochet row, which has 1 chain in the turning chain. Okay, so yarn over and pull that through the loop on the hook. Okay, now we're going to do double crochets. So put the hook through the first stitch, yarn over and pull it back out, yarn over and through 2 loops. I'm going to move this stitch marker up to the top of that stitch we just did. Okay, hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops. Hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops. Hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops. Hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops. And don't forget to move the stitch marker up like that. Cool. And remember, if you've got any questions, please ask as we're going and I'll answer them. And turn. And I need to get some more yarn out. We are getting through this. There we go. Okay. So our next one, that was a double crochet row. So the next one is a treble row. Okay, let's do this. So treble rows start with 2 chain in the turning chain. So let's do those. Yarn over and pull that through the loop on the hook. Yarn over and pull that through the loop on the hook. Okay, now trebles start with a yarn over. So yarn over first, put that through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops, and move the stitch marker up to the top of the row, the top of that stitch. Okay, yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops, like that. Oh, yarn over through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops. There we go. Okay, yarn over through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops. Okay, last one, yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over, oh, not the next stitch, yarn over and through the 2 loops, yarn over and through the last 2 loops, and move the stitch marker up. Okay, and then we turn like that. We are making some good progress here. So you'll notice at the end of each row when I turn, I kind of do this. And so what that does, I call that jiggling, just kind of evens everything out, makes everything sit a bit neater, a bit more even. I was a little bit tight with my foundation chain to the rest of my crocheting, which is an unusual, or vice versa. And I actually just kind of give this a jiggle and it looks better. So there you go. That's why I do that. That's kind of habit with chunky crochet. I don't think I do it with normal crochet, but I think because the chunky crochet kind of has a lot of give in it, just kind of make things look a bit better. Okay, so now we're doing a double crochet row, which has got 1 chain in the turning chain. So let's do that. Yarn over and through the loop in the hook. Okay, so double crochet, we just go straight through that next stitch. Yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through the 2 loops, and move the stitch marker up. There we go. Okay, so put the hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through the 2 loops. Hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through the 2 loops. Hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops. Hook through the last stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, and move that stitch marker up to the top of the stitch we just did. And turn. I'm doing it again. I'm jiggling. Okay, this is a treble row. So we've got 2 chain in our treble. So yarn over and through the loop, yarn over and through the loop. Okay, treble stitch. So we start with the yarn over and then through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and whoop, just rewind slightly, move the stitch marker up. I do forget to do that every now and again. Okay, yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops. Okay, yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over and pull it back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops, and yarn over and through the last stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops, and move the stitch marker up. I remembered. There we go. And turn. There we go. And I jiggled again. So that was a treble row. So our next one is a double crochet row, and I'm going to pull some more yarn out. So what I do with my ball of yarn. At present, I've just got it sitting on my lap because I'm sitting at the table. If I was on the lounge, I might put it into a basket just so it doesn't go everywhere. And I can just pull it out of the basket and it kind of just rolls around in the basket. I do that for the chunky yarn. I don't necessarily do that for normal size yarn. Okay, so next row must be a double crochet row. So there's one chain in the turning chain. So yarn over and through the loop. Okay, so hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops. And remember to move the stitch marker up. Okay, hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops. Hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops. Hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops. Hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops. Okay, and move the stitch marker up. And turn like that. And do the customary jiggle. Okay, let's keep doing this. So we're doing a treble row. So we start with 2 chain in our turning chain. So yarn over and through the loop. Yarn over and through the loop. Yarn over through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops. And remember to move the stitch marker up. Okay. Yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops. Yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops. Yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops. And yarn over and through the last stitch. You can pull some more yarn out. Yarn over and pull that back out. Yarn over and through 2 loops. Yarn over and through 2 loops. And remember to move the stitch marker up. And turn. And pull out some more yarn if you haven't already. Okay, so we're doing a double crochet row which has 1 chain in the turning chain. So yarn over and pull that out. Okay, hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through the 2 loops. Whoops, there we go. Hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that out, yarn over and through the 2 loops, hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that out, yarn over and through 2 loops, hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that out, yarn over and pull it through the last 2 loops. Hook through the last stitch, yarn over and pull that out, yarn over and through the 2 loops on the hook. And remember to move the stitch marker up. And did you notice I forgot to move the stitch marker up right back the front, right back at the start of the row. And so to check I put it in the right spot, I'm just going to count back. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's actually 5 there. So 5 stitches. And so the top of a stitch has the 2 legs of the V. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And turn. Okay. Have a jiggle of your body. Stretch your body out a bit. We're doing something new. I mean, your body's probably going, this is all new and I'm in a different position. And yeah, so just give yourself a stretch and take a deep breath. Remember, if you've got questions, just ask them as we're going through the video. Okay, here we go. So next we're doing a treble row, which has got 2 chain at the start. So yarn over and through the loop, yarn over and through the loop. There we go. And we start with a yarn over, then through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops. And remember to move the stitch markers up. There we go. Okay, yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops, and move the stitch marker up. Okay, and turn. Here we go. Now we're ready. Now we're doing a double crochet row. So yarn over and through the loop. Hook through the next stitch. So, oh, sorry, I'm just going to go back to here. So I did the turning chain. So that's the yarn over and through the loop. Okay, sorry about that. Because we're doing a double crochet row. Hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops. Whoop. Remember to move the stitch marker up. Okay, hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops. Hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops. Hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that out, yarn over and through the next 2 loops. Hook through the last stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops. And remember to move the stitch marker up like this. There we go. And then turn. That. Give everything a jiggle. Get some more yarn out like that. Here we go. Move your body if it's feeling a bit stiff or uncomfortable. Okay, so that was a double crochet row. So next we're doing a treble. I'm just getting my computer right again. Here we go. Okay, so we are getting close to the end. We're just going, actually, how many rows? So they're actually in the pattern, it goes up to 22 rows. How many have we done? So I'll show you how I'm counting rows. So that's 1 row, that's the second row, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14 there, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we might follow the pattern and stop at 22, or you can keep going, whatever you want to do. Okay, so if we're going to stop at row 22, 18 means we're going to do another 4 rows. Okay, so our next one is a treble row. So yarn over and through 2 loops. Oh, we're doing the turning chain, so it's 2 chains. So that was 1, and then yarn over and through. Oh, I'm going to pull that back out because I told you the wrong thing to do. So back to this point. Hook through there, turning chain. There's 2 of them for a treble row. So yarn over and through the loop, yarn over and through the loop. Okay, so start with the yarn over, put the hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops. And remember to move the stitch marker up. I've got a bit of a knot happening. I think it's the end of a long day. Okay, so let's keep trebling. Yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over and pull it back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over and pull it back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over and pull it back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops. And the last one, yarn over and through the last stitch. Oh, I got a bit carried away with my stitch marking of that one. I closed the hole up. Okay, yarn over and through the last stitch, yarn over and pull it back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops, and then turn like that. Okay, let's do this. Now we're doing a double crochet row which has 1 chain in the turning chain. So yarn over and through the loop to do the turning chain. And you know what? I forgot to move this stitch marker up. So I move it just there. Okay, so let's do our double crochets. Hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that out, yarn over and through 2 loops, and move the stitch marker up. There we go. Hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that out, yarn over and through 2 loops. Hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that out, yarn over and through 2 loops. Hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that out, yarn over and through 2 loops. And hook through the last stitch, yarn over and pull that out, yarn over and through 2 loops. And remember to move the stitch marker up like that. And turn. So we're going to do our last treble stitch. Turn the scarf, it's getting much longer. Okay, so the treble stitch has 2 chain in the turning chain. So yarn over, through the loop, yarn over, through the loop. Okay, we start yarn over, hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops, and move the stitch marker up like that. Okay, yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through the loops, yarn over and through the 2 loops. Last one of the row. Oh, last treble of the scarf. Yarn over through there, through the last stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops. And then remember to move the stitch marker up. And then we turn. Give that a jiggle like that. Okay, so now we're going to do double crochets, and that'll be our last double crochet row of the scarf. You can keep continuing if you like, but we'll just do it as per the pattern. Okay, so double crochet has 1 chain in the turning chain, so yarn over and pull it through the loop to do the chain. First stitch, put the hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull it back out, yarn over and through 2 loops. And you know what, because it's the last row, we don't need the stitch marker. Okay, next one. Hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull it back out, yarn over and through 2 loops. Hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull that back out, yarn over and through. Yarn over and through 2 loops. I lost it there. 1, 2, 3. Hook through the next stitch, yarn over and pull it back out, yarn over and through 2 loops. And for the last stitch, hook through, yarn over and pull it back out, yarn over and through 2 loops. Just like that. And then you can remove this last stitch marker. Okay, so let's finish this off. How exciting is this? So get your trusty scissors out and maybe cut it about half, not half, 30 centimeters. Doesn't have to be exact, but just so you've got a decent length there to work with. Put your ball of yarn to the side and then put this, you just make that loop a bit bigger, pull the hook out, put this end through there like that and pull that to tighten. How good's that? Now, this one I'm going to do left-handed because the last one I didn't. So with this end, we're going to weave it through loops. I'll even do this differently. I'll weave it through different loops. So just use your fingers and just work it through the loops. And it doesn't matter. I try to kind of follow some kind of pattern, kind of where the stitches are going. But also the purpose of doing this, it's weaving in the end. And it's just holding it in place. Oops, I went to right-handed there. So you just want to kind of lose it in the stitches. Do that again. And then at the end, we're going to tie a little knot just so it doesn't unravel. Give that a jiggle just to check that it is sitting right before you cut it. So here's my little knot there. I'm just going to trim this end off. No, I'm not going to do that left-handed. It might be dangerous if I use scissors for left-handed. So there you go. Congratulations. Like I said, you can just keep crocheting and you just keep crocheting. You might even want to pull yours out and redo it. So this is my end that I started with. Actually, I'll put it this way. This is the width of the end that I started with. So it's upside down. And this is the width of where I finished up. So you can see my tension has got a bit tighter as I've gone along. And what we find is that people will, especially in blanket school, they'll start and they'll do a certain, maybe 4 rows or something and go, okay, I'm getting the hang of this. I'm going to pull it out and do it again. And when they do it again, it looks so much better. So you've always got that option as well. And Homely Bliss lets you do that. It doesn't go yucky. Some yarns will go yucky if you pull it out and try reworking it. And because it's chunky, it doesn't take too long. I never feel bad pulling it out and redoing it with chunky yarn because I haven't spent hours and hours and days and weeks doing it. So I'm just going to stop this one here. Okay, here I am. I'm back. I'm just going to check if there are any more questions in the Facebook group. Otherwise, we will call, not the Facebook group, I'm going back to blanket school in the Facebook Live. Oh, it's been a big day. It's been a big couple of days, but that's okay. So I hope you found this really helpful. It's going to stay here in Facebook land for you. It's also going to go up on my Instagram, the Homely Lass Instagram TV, and on YouTube. So it's going to be available for you to refer to. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it helps. If you know someone that's left-handed that would love to learn to crochet if they've had problems, please share it with them. It's there for everyone to use. So thank you so much for going through this with me. I will talk to you later on. Bye.